Over the years, China has grown into a dominant economic player in Africa, with Chinese investments in Africa spanning several sectors. China is a long-standing diplomatic partner as well as a new investor in Africa. Chinese interests on the continent have apparently extended beyond natural resources to include trade, security, diplomacy, and soft power. Also, the Asian superpower is a major donor of aid, but the scope, scale, and mode of Chinese aid have often been a source of great debate. Join us in our video today as we explore why China gifted Zimbabwe a new ultra-modern Parliament House. As always, like, comment, and subscribe for more exciting future videos. China recently funded and completed the construction of an ultra-modern hilltop parliament building in Zimbabwe that is ready to be used by the Zimbabwean official after 3.5 years of construction. Although China has been a long-standing ally of Zimbabwe, several have wondered about the genuineness of this expensive gift. The 6-story building, located on the historical Mount Hampton Hill, about 18 kilometers northwest of Harare, Zimbabwe's capital, is a fine piece of magnificent architecture that fuses both Zimbabwean and Chinese characteristics. The imposing structure spans 33,000 square meters and includes a 4-story structure that houses the National Assembly and Senate. The two buildings are connected by 3 bridges on each floor, with the National Assembly capable of seating 400 people, while the Senate chamber can only seat 150. It also has conferencing facilities, 15 committee rooms, office space for staff, and a parking lot. Members of Parliament and employees would be housed in 600 rooms in the office building. During a tour given by the Chinese contractors, journalists were allowed to see the finished complex, which cost an estimated $200 million, which was obtained as a grant from China Aid and involved 500 Chinese technicians and 1,200 local workers in its construction. Shanghai Construction Group designed and constructed the new building, which was fully funded by the Chinese government as a gift to the people of Zimbabwe. The construction of the House of Parliament was completed in 42 months, which is approximately 10 months behind schedule, due to the COVID pandemic. In a statement, Kai Lebo, the project manager at Shanghai Construction Group, expressed his happiness and noted that the new Parliament building would become a landmark in Zimbabwe and possibly all of southern Africa. He asserted that the project showed support for democracy in Zimbabwe, enhanced the country's reputation, and forged a strong friendship between China and Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe's Minister of Information Monica Mutsvangwa also discussed the importance of the establishment as a sign of deep relations between Zimbabwe and China. She claimed that the establishment is an amazing structure that was made possible with funding from the People's Republic of China, and that it will make it possible for the legislature to carry out its duties. It is clear that China's gift to Zimbabwe has been accepted in good faith, given that everyone involved appears to be happy that the project has been completed. By constructing new infrastructure close to the new parliament, Zimbabwe hopes to clear up the congestion in the city. Along with retail and residential spaces, it will house executive and judicial offices. The Parliament building is the second major infrastructure donation to Zimbabwe by China after Beijing constructed the country's biggest stadium in 1987. The National Sports Stadium, with 60,000 seats in the nation's capital of Harare, was prohibited by the Confederation of African Football from hosting international football matches due to poor upkeep. China is also spending an estimated $1.2 billion upgrading the largest thermal power plant in the nation and has already committed a $533 million renovation to the largest hydropower facility in the nation, the Kariba South Power Station. Due to its shoddy repayment history, China is the only economic superpower willing to extend loans to Harare, particularly as Zimbabwe has an external debt of $14.4 billion and is heavily indebted to China. During the late strawman Robert Mugabe's era, Zimbabwe adopted a Look East policy after its economy took a hit from isolation and sanctions by Western countries due to alleged human rights violations and electoral fraud. After decades of economic downrun, the economy rebounded in 2021, driven by recovery of agriculture and industry and relative stabilization of prices and exchange rates. GDP saw an estimated growth by 5.8% in 2021 after contracting by 6.2% in 2020. China is now Africa's biggest trade partner, with Sino-African trade topping $200 billion per year. According to McKinsey, over 10,000 Chinese-owned firms are currently operating throughout the African continent, and the value of Chinese business on the continent since 2005 amounts to more than $2 trillion, with $300 billion in investment currently on the table. Africa has also eclipsed Asia as the largest market for China's overseas construction contracts. In January 2018, 6 years after the opening of the African Union Conference Center and Office Complex, a report in the African edition of Le Monde, confirmed by the Financial Times, claimed that the African Union's IT department had discovered in early 2017 that the site's computer systems were connecting nightly to servers in Shanghai and uploading files, as well as recordings from microphones embedded in the walls and furniture. Le Monde alleged that the African Union had then covered up the hack to protect Chinese interests in the continent, especially as the $200 million building complex was funded by the Chinese government. The Chinese government denied that they bugged the building, with China's ambassador to the African Union, Huang Weilan, calling the article ridiculous and preposterous, and that the allegations were intended to put pressure between Beijing and the continent. Other notable African leaders, such as former Ethiopian Prime Minister Hailemariam Desalegn and Moussa Faki Mahamat, head of the African Union Commission, said the allegations in the Le Monde's report were false. Rwandan President Paul Kagame also stated that he did not know anything about it.
Now to have that kind of institution, that kind of infrastructure fully, wholly donated by the Chinese, I think it should also lead us to wonder in as much as where will this take us to in terms of our pride, in terms of our dignity, and in terms of our much affinity in the notions of sovereignty.
With all these allegations, critics from Zimbabwe and across the continent are concerned about the expensive gift being offered by Beijing. China has also been accused in recent years of neocolonialism and unfairly exploiting the Zimbabwe's mineral resources. But it has also been a long-standing ally of Zimbabwe, supporting the liberation struggle against white minority rule when the country was known as Rhodesia. As a result, determining any ulterior motives is difficult. However, it is clear that all parties are pleased with the project's outcome. If you enjoyed this video, watch also the next video on your screen, which looks at why Uganda is constructing the multi-million Kabul International Airport. As always, make sure to give the video a like and subscribe to our channel for more exciting trending and development topics in Africa.